Good morning. Good morning. I hope everyone is alive and well and ready for Shakeup, ready to move forward, ready to continue the development discussion. It has been a long weekend, and I'm happy to be here. You could say the first working day of May. Now, when we started the year, I mean, you're looking ahead and it looked like 12 long months. But guess what? 4 months have already gone. We're into May. We have celebrated Easter, and now we are into a period where by Saturday, coming this Saturday, we'll be into another season, a season of festival. It will be the beginning of Vincimas. Now, this morning, I had the privilege of standing in the yard of the agricultural input warehouse and looking at the ship basically that is involved in the dredging exercise. And here we're talking about the removal of sand from one location and carrying it to the next location, which is in Kingstown, to ensure that we could continue the development of SVG. Now, we a lot of times speak about development and we make it an academic exercise. You know, it seems far removed from our reality. And when you look at our reality, is that our landscape, seascape are basically changing before our eyes. And interestingly, this is not new. And here again, I would remember my brother Glenn, as he would have looked out and say, hey, listen, we got to ensure that we build a new St. Vincent. You know, this is a song that we grew up hearing, you know, singing while in primary school. We have to build a new St. Vincent. And we have fought for this. This is what we as Vincentians, and I include everybody on the different sides of the spectrum politically, we are all fighting to ensure that St. Vincent grow, St. Vincent develop. And I'm going to say in front of our eyes, this is what this Labour Party government over the last 22 years have been involved in and will continue to be involved with. So you look at how our landscape has continued to change, giving us what is, I would say, a privilege, which is to be able to use the assets of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the right way. So we have been able to connect north, south, east, and west of St. Vincent through the building of bridges. We have been able to put city fences in place to ensure that the assets that God has blessed St. Vincent with remains, whether on mainland in Layou, or I could stretch it down to even the Southern Grenadines. We have to be grateful that our St. Vincent continues to be built. Now, I know I've heard comments saying, well, government ain't supposed to shout and sing praises because that's what we elect them for. And I'm going to say to you, I disagree with the first part and I agree with the second part. When you elect a government to rule, they have to set before you a vision of development that it is similar to what you, the individual, is looking for. And when that government is able to carry out its mandate as defined in its manifesto, its promise to you, its contract with you as a voter, as a citizen, this is where I agree with you. The government is doing what you elected it to do. And this is where I will disagree with some. When the government is working, it must shout and say we're working. Because at the end of the day, when things happen quietly, nobody pays attention. And when things happen quietly, the man in the north who don't know what is going on in the south, and the man in the east who is not connected to the west, when he's not paying attention, he will not understand or be able to appreciate that what he does is still connected to what is happening in the other area of the country. So here am I looking and watching the dredging exercise. Now, there are many thoughts that come to mind when you're looking at it. Here is our capital being transformed once again. New opportunity for growth is at hand. How could we ensure that this opportunity doesn't go a begging? And I say that because, listen, I know when it comes to political conversations, we all choose a side. And I'm saying at this point in time, you have to be very careful with which side you choose. Because we do not want this opportunity that is in front of us to be lost. Lost because of bipartisan politics. Now, I was looking at it, and I was able to share with my eldest daughter, when you look across the waterfront, where you see vehicles parked right now down at Rose Place was once water. And I said, could you remember where we presently have a lot of the construction equipment sitting was once waterfront? Where we have equipment sitting was once places where the only thing you had was rundown shacks, little squatting areas. I normally tell people when you're developing, you would remember that a lot goes into the foundation. But a lot of times it gets covered up. So you don't get to see the amount of steel that has been bent. You don't get to see the amount of BRC that has been laid. You don't get to see the electrical fittings and pipe fittings that are below the concrete. So half of the time, it pops up and you feel, boy, not much gone into this. But development is a process that has many moving parts. And the beauty of what is transpiring in front of us at this moment is that development is not taking place and people are treated any and anyhow. The persons who occupy that space that now you could say it turning into solid foundation, a solid landscape. Those persons are in beautiful locations in the Camden Park, Lomans Bay area. An effort by the government not to just basically take people, displace them, and say, find your own way. But in development, remembering people matter. And this is what, for me, I am looking at the transformation of the waterfront and realizing this government sees it as people matter. Now, the dredging exercise is being conducted, and I've heard some conversations around did this come at an exorbitant cost to the developers? Was the government right? But just like what is taking place in Bokoma, the opportunity to develop the waterfront has created further opportunities to enhance St. Vincent and the Grenadines. By that, the developers are purchasing the right to use the sand from our blue area. And because they're purchasing that, the resources that comes to the state create an opportunity for further development inland. Now, this is important because most persons have the question as to why develop a port. And I'm saying the port development is creating opportunity for further enhancement of our national product. So out of this, the opportunity to do more, be more, is there. Therefore, the private sector, therefore the entrepreneurs, therefore the persons who are going to be engaged in serious trade. Now, we could sit down and pretend that, hey, listen, it ain't going to happen. Or just like what is taking place in front of our very eyes, we realize that, hey, listen, if we work together, if we are all on the same wavelength, the real opportunities and benefits can be accrued and realized. And I'm saying this because at the end of the day, we are here at May. Yesterday, we celebrated Labor Day. Workers' Day. As part and parcel of the productive sector, yesterday was dedicated to us as workers. And while our government, as elected to do, is doing, which is transforming our landscape, we the workers now are the persons who have to get together and ensure that the benefit from that transformation accrues to us. So let's not just sit down and watch the landscape and be fascinated by it. But let us start to dream. Let us start to recommit ourselves to working hard, working smart, having wisdom to ensure the benefits of these transformations can really be realized. You'll ask me, what benefits are you seeing? Where new land is created, new space is created, it means there's new opportunity for us to sit down and rethink, reorganize, reconstruct our capital, making our capital the envy of our Caribbean nations. Now, this weekend, it was an interesting weekend because I came across 2 clips on Facebook of persons who have visited St. Vincent. One indicated they were in Bequia. They pointed out, obviously, again, the weaknesses and the strengths. And inside of that, I get to see the opportunity. Remember, not every negative is there to hurt. Because this individual, where they reported on their visit to St. Vincent, they pointed out that one of the best or critical ingredients to our tourism development formula is the warmth of the people, the friendliness of the people. They said, unfortunately, we're not pushing tourism as hard as they think we should. But they said when they came to St. Vincent, the warmth of the people, the attitude of the people towards the visitor was something that warmed their heart. Because while in St. Vincent, there was always somebody to help. While they could not find, let's say, the things to do list, as they would like, as a developing nation, we need to get correct. They said there were persons who were basically able to say, hey, listen, you could visit, you could hike to Soufrière, you could visit the other islands down in the Grenadines through a day tour, etc. So we have products, we have things that can be done. We just need to know how to market them better. And the next video I saw that again warmed my heart was a couple decided to do a food tour in St. Vincent, where they looked at the different things that they could have in St. Vincent. Codfish for breakfast, blackfish for lunch, coconut water to energize them, the fruits that we have. The persons who are trying to actually do something a little different. Now, I say that to indicate, while government works on the infrastructure development that is necessary for our growth, we the people now have to sit down and start understanding that the opportunity for us to market ourselves is at hand. So when we get new acreage in Kingston, we can't take our old bad habits, because I'm still seeing vendors who want to go all over town to say they're vending. And the whole thing is, we, the consuming public, We, the persons who are looking to benefit from the developments that are taking place, have to be able to say to the persons, when you are not in the location you are supposed to be in, sorry, we cannot purchase from you. But we also have to be responsible enough to go where they are supposed to be. Development is a two-way street. Each one of us, as producer and consumer, have to be working in tandem to reap the benefits. So, the funding that is being made available from the dredgering is going to go to other development areas. One benefit already. Just like when we look at what Sandals is doing down in the Bookament area, where it's not just about building the hotel, but it's the offshoots, ensuring that the offshoots add value to their product. This is what we ourselves have to be able to get wrapped around our brain at this moment. Wherever development is taking place, there is an opportunity for growth, development, and value added. Now, I listen to a lot of the conversation that takes place, and unfortunately, I'm thinking too many of us are waiting for government to come with the value added, when we have what it takes to add that value. Let us understand the opportunity for partnership in growth and development is there. Now, while I speak about what is taking place in town, I want to basically focus the next hour on a conversation that came to my attention over the weekend. And that conversation had to do with why, and it was an excerpt of infomercial that was being done, why Marriott, Hyatt, and other hotel giants are going all in on all-inclusives. I talk about transforming Kingston, where we understand that space is going to be created, where we could right-size the tongue for the changing marketplace. So we could have proper places for vending. We could have proper place for recreation. We could have proper space for parking. We could make the town a proper business center, catering for all needs. The needs of the consumer, the need of the person for recreation, the need of the person for commerce. And obviously, ensuring that as the gateway, especially when we talk about the cruise ship, as the gateway for exploring St. Vincent, we ensure the gateway is very appealing so persons will want to go further inland. Now, if a person come and the tongue where they're entering is not appealing, the first thing they're going to do is head back to the ship. And as I say that, I mean, I find it interesting. Up to last week, I think 1 or 2 days, we still had the cruise ships in St. Vincent. Normally, by the time we end February, you might get a drip into March. But the fact that the season has been extended and has gone all the way down to April now might not be as busy, but it still exists. So there's still an opportunity where tourism is contributing to our national product and our national development. So the opportunity to do the port, to right-size Kingston, to make Kingston very picturesque, very welcoming, very warming to the eyes of the tourists is critical. Creating land space for the changing market, let's say appetite, I think it's the right time and it's the opportune time. Because in the conversation, play this excerpt. All right, I'm going to try to play an excerpt here from the conversation that I found, and then we'll continue the discussion.
The world's largest hospitality brands are embracing inclusive pricing, along with luxurious perks like butler service, foreign language classes, or a yacht. Like flare jeans and flip phones, travel fads often boomerang back, but never in exactly the same way as before. All-inclusive resorts are currently enjoying an enormous surge in popularity, minus the mediocre buffets, bottom-shelf pina coladas, and cheesy entertainment from decades past. This new wave of all-inclusives is all about luxury, offering a raft of enticements from gourmet a la carte dining to personal butler service to high-end experiences unique to their locales. Notably, many of these properties are being launched by luxury hospitality brands entering the all-inclusive arena for the first time. Chalk it up to a post-pandemic shift in the consumer mindset, driven by sky-high travel demand, coupled with major decision fatigue. People are really looking for no surprises when it comes to what's included. They want to just go and discover, enjoy, and they really want to pay once and be done. Brian King, president of Marriott International's Caribbean and Latin America region, told Forbes. In decades past, many all-inclusive resorts were designed to keep guests on property. In 2023, King says guests want to get beyond the gate and are looking for quasi-concierge service built around curated and crafted experiences. These vacationers want fabulous options, but never want to feel overprogrammed. King calls the formula E squared, as in entertainment times education. At the Westin in Costa Rica, for example, guests can golf on a Robert Trent Jones II designed course, or discover wildlife in national parks on an ATV or canopy tour. There are also Spanish learning sessions, cooking demonstrations, cocktail tastings, and classes in Tai Chi and yoga. Last year, Marriott, the world's largest hospitality company, tallied $21 billion in revenue, a 50% increase from 2021. Marriott CEO Anthony Capuano has frequently cited the all-inclusive segment as a key growth area for the company, with many of Marriott's luxury brands entering the all-inclusive space. The first ever all-inclusive W Hotel is slated to open in 2025 in the Dominican Republic, with 349 rooms and suites, 11 restaurants and bars, 3 pools, and a spa. It would be easy to credit Marriott's success with all-inclusives as a brilliant pivot in post-pandemic times. But the planning actually started well before the arrival of COVID, when the company's executives recognized that its leisure business was growing more rapidly than other segments. As part of Marriott's merger with Starwood Hotels in 2016, It inherited what was then Weston's only all-inclusive resort, the Weston Golf Resort and Spa, Playa Conchal in Costa Rica. The resort subsequently became a training lab for Marriott to earn its all-inclusive chops. When introducing new properties, Marriott is in the enviable position of being able to leverage its Marriott Bonvoy loyalty program, which boasts a staggering 177 million members. Travel advisors say the major industry shift is impossible to ignore. Scarcely a month goes by without a luxury behemoth partnering with an all-inclusive brand. Late last year, Intercontinental Hotels announced a long-term agreement with Spain's Iberostar Hotels and Resorts, bringing 70 all-inclusive hotels into the IHG fold. Hilton now operates a baker's dozen of all-inclusive properties, including the 735-room Hilton Tulum Riviera Maya, the company's largest resort in the Caribbean. Hyatt, whose $2.7 billion acquisition of Apple Leisure Group in 2021 made it the world's largest operator of luxury all-inclusives, is now spread across 9 brands with more than 120 resorts across 40 beachfront destinations and 11 countries. By the end of 2023, Hyatt's Inclusive Collection will include more than 45 resorts in Mexico alone. While Mexico, the Caribbean, and Latin America make up a large amount of all-inclusive destinations, European destinations are not far behind. After all, unlike flare jeans, happiness will never go out of style.
Yes. So I just shared with you what I came across, what was shared with me this weekend in a conversation of all inclusive. How basically the tourism industry is changing. What stuck out is the concept of having an all inclusive, but they're going beyond the gate. No. St. Vincent being a blessed space where a lot of our activity is going to be beyond the gate. We, the people, now have to try to understand. Benefiting in the new dispensation of tourism is going to rely on us being real creative and also in us offering to hotels. Now, I know the excerpt talked about the major brands, including Marriott, who will soon have an operation here in St. Vincent. But we have, before our eyes, being developed the sandals. So we have the international brands that will be here who are already working their all-inclusive packages. And you will understand now, based on the excerpt that I shared, why Sandals obviously is interested in the Bookament area also being up to par. Because the development that they're looking for is not just about what they can offer, but what the area around them can offer. That excerpt excites me because it spoke to the opportunities that are basically in front of us that we have to understand exist because of the efforts of this government, that exists because we are looking to create the right space, the right atmosphere, the right temperature for growth. Now, in the conversation on the waterfront, we talked about the space will lead to an area for the development of a performing arts center. We heard also that prior to this, there's efforts in the windward side and on the leeward side to also develop performance centers. Now, if all-inclusive business is looking at beyond the gate, where a person might figure this has nothing to do with them, and that's why I talk about making noise when we realize things are happening, is that I am sitting down and looking at a St. Vincent where our entertainment, our dancing, our poetry, all the creative works could be on display to ensure that there is something beyond the gates for the persons who will be visiting St. Vincent. Now, in the same excerpt, they talked about these high-end hotel having a well captive market for themselves. They have loyalty programs. So persons who have never traveled to St. Vincent, I'm certain once Sandals open, an invitation will be sent out to persons for them to visit St. Vincent, the New Beaches Hotel. That person now will be given the opportunity to experience the best of SVG. So within the next, and I'm saying this because I believe it, within the next 8 months of 2023, we the labor force, have an opportunity to right size our offerings in St. Vincent. Whichever area of service we are in, we have an opportunity. There's a caller. Sorry, caller, we'll take you shortly. We have an opportunity to understand that what is being created is there for us. Now, you can't expect government to basically do it all. Now, we have a caller. I'll take my first caller. Hello, good day.
Good morning, Brother Dominic.
Good morning, my brother, Robbie.
How are you?
I am not too bad.
It is interesting that you're discussing the topic of standards, all-inclusive hotels, the spin-off and benefits to the community, and what else have you. And strange enough, not just what Friday, a friend asked me a couple questions based on my experience coming from an island that has 3 standards property. Will standards be able to have an impact on the agricultural sector? I told him if the farmers here can produce quality, they will benefit. If the fishermen it can produce good catch depending on the request from Sanders, which would be the request of the guests. They would benefit. And even the butchers, where you cannot just go and chop up meat to sell to Sanders, say, oh, this is how I accustom of doing it. It won't work. You cannot go and see and bring 100 pounds of plantain and see, this is how I accustom to sell it. Our farmers, in fact, our people need to begin, or they should have already begun, retooling themselves to take charge and to partake and to benefit from the tourist industry. I'm not even going to say service industry, I'm saying tourist industry.
Mm-hmm.
And by tourists, I mean Vincentians, because, for example, in St. Lucia, I know during the stint I spent at Club St. Lucia, where people came in and spent weekends with their families at the hotel, and there you had to treat them like you would treat the Caucasian or the foreigner, if I have to use that phrase.
Spot on.
So you would have people probably coming up from Beckway and wanting to stay at a property, and what you would do, you would tell them, oh, they have intentions like yourself, and you'd serve them anyhow? No, it will not work in the service industry. And look at another critical factor. We know of the move for same-sex marriages, same-sex couples, and all that. You and I and many other people do not agree to this. But you have no choice but to serve them as a professional at the hotel. Now, people may say, oh, I don't put up with that, but you are employed by the establishment. And the order breakfast, you serve them breakfast like you serve anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things people need to understand. But another critical factor that is plaguing, sorry about that, Vincent, a particular sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I'm speaking of the music industry, the arts industry. Look, you have Carnival coming around. And for years, there has always been talk about artists not making money. Artists' music is just being used anyhow. But are those artists serious? Why? Because in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in 2003, a Copyright Act was passed, number 21 of 2003. How many musicians, how many photographers, how many painters, how many songwriters have gotten a copy of this act? It is just about 120 pages thereabout, and try to read it and understand the sections that apply directly to them. Last week, Thursday, it was Justice Colin Williams, former DPP, delivered an address on Wednesday, on World Intellectual Property Day. And he made a number of pertinent points. And people must begin to seriously stand up and look at themselves. In St. Lucia, the Calypsonians get money at the end of the year from the music played on the radio stations. Are you telling me that here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the artists, the soca artists, the Calypsonians, all of them waiting for government to hold their hand? You are the ones who have to make your organization work for you. whether it is echo, whether it is amp. You have to demand the radio stations keep a log of music played. Like in St. Lucia and all other areas, you must keep a log of the music played.
Mhm.
Persons cannot take your music and just do an ad and you do not get paid for it.
Mhm.
Brother Dominic, you recalled just around 2020 there was that issue between the ULP and the Grenadian artists
Yes.
over a particular song.
Yes. Well,
Right.
even this year in the St. Kitts election with a Vincentian
Thank you.
artist.
Yeah. Have that Vincentian artist demanded payment for his music that was used?
Yes, he has.
Okay, good. I'm happy for him because some persons are of the mindset that the laws, the copyright laws, the intellectual property rights only apply to certain artists. It applies to everyone. And let me just, with your permission, quickly seek to educate a few persons. Because apart from the musicians, the soca artists, the calypsonians, the next group of artists that are discriminated against are photographers. Persons, I mean, you and I friends, and I take your picture, I say, hey, Dominic, I'm sending you a photo, I send it to you. But that photo cannot be used, for example, in an advertisement without my permission. Now,
Agreed.
people out there will say, but it is my picture. Yes, but if I give you my phone to take my photo, the moment you press that shutter, the copyright belongs to you. You, the creator of the image. And this is basic copyright that exists across the world, no matter which country you go to. The rapper 50 Cent had to pay a ton of money not too long ago to a photographer over that same issue. Yeah, you go out to cover an event, and it is what photographers do, as any photographer who's worth his salt. You go out there, you take photos of an event, of a scene or something. You may use one or two, you may sell one to a newspaper, allow a newspaper to use one or two. But you keep that in stock. Anybody wanting those photos has to pay. But you have companies here who request photos and then turn around and tell the photographer they thought it was for free. This is encouraging crime because a camera is not a penny. Time and everything. And you have young school leavers out there who want to take up photography. Many of them approach me. I know of one young man, a student at St. Vincent Grammar School, who was able to acquire his own camera. And one day we met and he's asking me, how difficult is sports photography? I tell him it is the hardest form of photography, but it is the one I love the most. And he looked at me, why? I said, for whatever reason, I feel more comfortable shooting sports. You're in a zone. And we exchange. I gave him a few tips. I tell him anytime he can call me, help him out. And this young man is beginning to get into it. And then he will take pictures and a company will tell him, ask him for the pictures and tell him it is for free. And sadly, the companies that engage, whose officials engage in such practice, are the companies who are guaranteed a daily income. The telecom companies, the utility companies. I ain't gonna call names.
Please don't.
But they need to look at what they do. Because while we are fighting crime, the country managers of these companies are encouraging crime.
I won't say that, and I won't allow you to say that on the airways because that is defamatory. But I take your passion and the.
Yeah, but Brother Dominic, can you and I go by the market and ask a farmer who toils day, sometimes late into the evening, to grow his crops, and ask him, can I get 2 potatoes? And then you turn around and ask for his money and you tell him, I thought they were for free? Isn't that an insult?
Well, this is where I am going to say to you, I take on that point, I take a different view in the sense that what is happening now is an opportunity for real discussion on the development part within all areas, because you have touched on a couple areas that I am really happy that you did. And it centers around ensuring that we see ourselves as professionals in this marketplace. And our standards, and here now, I'm speaking of both the standards of us as the producers and the standards of the consumers must be properly enhanced so that all benefit, because you're correct. We want persons to basically pursue their passion. We want persons to develop in all areas because there's place and space for all of it. We need the persons in all areas of creativity. So when you talk about the music, critically, if we are going to be bringing a lot of foreigners to our shores to enjoy our music, one of the things we want is the music industry locally to be properly developed so that persons are, one, copyrighting their products, ensuring that they can benefit from the rights to their music, the rights to their works. We want the same thing with respect to master chefs, to cooks, where they could come up with recipes that become uniquely Vincentian, where St. Vincent is the only place you could get it. And if by chance somebody is to be able to come gather the recipe, they can't go back overseas and develop it and call it their own.
Thank you. No, I agree. No, you have a point.
And this is where
I know there are Vincentians who are developing recipes.
And they have to.
Our good friend Richie.
Yes. Yes. And this is where you want the space to be created, because as I said, we only have 8 months left. I mean, I remember when the airport opened, I was saying to persons, we have 5 years to get this thing right. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have a learning curve. Now, the thing with it, as we get towards 2024, when we are expecting another bumper cruise ship season, where we are expecting a lot of the hotels, major hotels, to be in play, where we expect our throughput of visitors to move from, let's say, under 100,000 to over 1 million, and are stretching it, doing it purposely, so that we could understand the grandeur of it. Is that what we have to do? Is basically put ourselves in the frame of mind that we will be able to capture and benefit, because the whole thing is the infrastructures that are being put in place is giving each and every one of us a right of use asset. How Correct. We use this asset for our growth, our development, and our prosperity is what we have to pay attention to.
Thank you. And may I just add this? Look at the current mango season. Has anyone decided to, because a lot of tourists come here and they do not want juices with all those add-ons, all those chemicals hotels have. Can a group of people come together and purchase a couple industrial blenders and blend mangoes and start freezing the pulp? Because when the tourists come in, you don't have to mix a whole bucket or a whole jar of juice. You freeze the pulp, and all year round, you can sell mango juice. I'm throwing that out there to a group of young people to look at it. Look at it, operate such a business within the health laws of the country, and not any one person being greedy and want to take the lion's share of earnings. But do it where, like a cottage industry, 3, 4, 5 young ladies who would be going out to collect the mangoes, who would be washing them, who would be peeling them, who would be cutting the meat of the seeds, and who would be responsible to operate the blenders. I'm throwing this out there. And you rightly say, the basics are being laid, the foundations are being laid. It is we, the people, that have to take charge of it. But if we are to sit down and wait for a minister to hold our hands and help us up the staircase towards development, then come on, where are we going? Where are we going? You have the trade unions, and yesterday was a day where workers should have been celebrated. And what waiting for the government? The trade unions find it necessary to organize an event to bring out their members. When you look at what took place in Grenada, what took place in Guyana, what took place in other countries, we, the people, need to stop leaning and depending on a minister to keep holding our hands to do something.
All right.
The ministers lay policy.
All right.
We are the ones that have to look at those policies and take full advantage of them.
Agreed.
Have a blessed day, young man.
Thank you, my brother. We'll take a little break at this moment, and then we'll get back to Shakeup.
9.9 WEFM 99.9, home of quality programming. A source of reliable news and information. Home of legendary voices and music. WEFM 99.9, the clean first sound. Visit us online at www.999wefm.com or call 457-9994. WEFM 99.9, the clean first sound.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
I was looking for a cough syrup, looking for a drug to help this pain here in my throat. I needed something fast to help me with my cold. Then I turned around and there you go. I went into a store and I found what I needed when I shouted Super Health.
Super Health Pharmacy. We're located on Grenville Street, formerly Isles Boutique. Come in and check out our wide variety of over-the-counter prescriptions, medications, personal care products, and much more. Take advantage of our free delivery services, blood pressure, sugar, and cholesterol testing. Open Mondays to Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call or WhatsApp us at 497-8737 or 457-8737. Super Health Pharmacy. Your health is our priority.
And I found what I needed when I shouted Super Health.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interbrand Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
SVG, the season we all love is here once again. Get ready for the official launch of Vincy Mash 2023 on Saturday, May 6th, Victoria Park. Check out the family fun city from 10 in the morning with loads of attractions, bumps and castles, go-karts, face painting, and so much more. Fun for the entire family. Then from 7 in the p.m., it's the official launch event at Carnival City, featuring mass presentations and guest performances by some of SVG's top artists. Admission adults $10, $20 from 7 p.m. Kids absolutely free. And yes, you can take a jump or even bust a wine. Be part of the whistle stops simultaneously coming out of Baga and coming down from country from 11 in the morning straight into Kingston. It's the official launch of Vincy Mass 2023, Saturday, May 6th, inside Victoria Park. Vincy Mass, the hottest carnival in the Caribbean.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
Now, the beauty of the discussion earlier is that it touched on E squared. Entertainment multiplied by education. And if we the people are really going to benefit from all the works that this administration is laying on the table, executing, and ensuring that they come to pass, we have to understand that we can't, in this new dimension of development, think that any old standard works. We have to be able to ensure that when, as my brother Robbie said, people who need to eat, let's ensure that we see agriculture, fishing, the butchers, the restaurant providers. Let us all see what we're doing as a sustainable business. We must ensure that, listen, going forward, everything we're doing is done at the professional level. As I'm saying, we have a caller. Hello, good day. Hello, good day. Sorry, you'll have to call back. Sorry, we lost it. We have to ensure that we are not just seeing ourselves as provided any and any kind of service. We have to provide quality service. Hello, good day. sorry, caller. Keep trying. Not too sure what is happening right now. Our musicians have to organize themselves properly to be part and parcel of the new dispensation of entertainment provision in St. Vincent. You have to become part and parcel of the systems that are set up to ensure you benefit from your creative works. Listen, I know a lot of persons have a challenge when I say it can't be the same old way in which we operate. We can't see farming now as a hobby or something we do by the way to ensure that we add it to our income. We have to ensure that we are looking at our livelihoods. Agriculture has to become a significant part of our business environment.
Hello?
Hi, good day, sir. How are you doing? Sorry about that. We were having a little trouble connecting.
Yes, but I like the conversation you're having about agriculture. The guy that speak before concerning the mangoes and so on, I support that. I tired calling concerning that. I call the Minister of Agriculture. Because in America, what you know, when you go to the grocery, you see mango juice, you see plum juice, guava juice. And since they don't have enough, as man say, why some in the field, some put us in, let us get a factory. We need to talk about road and road and road. When after the season finished, all the mango grows are begging. Sometimes you could go around and say, tell you one of them, tell me this tree mango, tell me that. And he gets a net and catch the mango before it fall on the ground. And sell it just like if you're making with juice, or orange juice. And you could able to produce that. You just go, we outside it as the intention. We have to go on by mango. I want to see how nice mango juice, blend with different things like that. And we have it waste in the season. If we're not doing nothing, we could get development from, we have plenty from guava and anything like that. You understand? So we are in this way to inside breadfruit and all these kind of things, breadfruit chips, this kind of thing. And you could go a long way also. These are things we could produce as local days, but we can't depend on the government alone to do it. But because some of them sit down there, the consumers free to invest. Money meet money. When you put out money, you get money. If you don't want to put out, you can stay stagnant. The government could only do as much. But you need, as you're saying, you need the people who are the business to set up business here, there, everywhere. And you can reach a long way. But it means we're talking about a small developing state, which is good. But we have to develop all our own, Mr. Sutherland, and that's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Now, you see, this is a deep conversation that we need to have. Because one of the challenges is we need to basically ensure that we are not just going and getting the mangoes and basically freezing them. But this is where I would say to persons, if we get together, we be serious about it. We get together. The persons who have their concept as to what they are doing, let us set up business arrangements with testing labs, testing facilities, to come up with a formula that works, that would ensure that when whatever we come up with, we could make it our own and we can make money from it. We develop partnerships. So reach out to one of the labs in St. Vincent and say, hey, listen, you could work with us to basically ensure that we develop this concept properly. You work out a proper fee arrangement. Now, I know soon as I said fee, everybody get fearful. But I'm talking about developing a fee structure that could basically say, hey, listen, when we come up with a viable business concept, out of every juice pack that you sell, a penny comes to me as the lab. So that we're not talking about current, but we are talking about future earnings. Our ability to construct our partnerships in a way that basically meets our objectives is something that we have to be able to focus on. Listen, we have to be producing, and this is where I talk about a lab, because we have to ensure that whatever we're doing will meet all the necessary health standards. And this is where, beyond just the freeze and the mango, even what we are doing on the roadside as part of our service that we are offering, the roast pork, the roast chicken, we have to also ensure that we understand we have to be compliant with the health standards, the food safety standards, the sanitary standards. We can't go set up any and anywhere. We have to be able, listen, as I said, I saw the clipping where the person was doing the food tour. And I saw this stopped at a trailer. And I smiled when I saw the trailer had seating area for them to go and enjoy the meal. And I say that because this is something that we have to be able to start thinking about. When we are offering a service or offering a product, the service that we offer with the product must be as good as the product. It must be of the same high standard. I mean, sometimes we don't even enjoy the food that we're eating because the container that you're getting it in can't hold the food. We are not really getting to the concepts that, hey, listen, our packaging, our labeling, our information must be out there that people can actually appreciate what goes into the production of our finished product. Just like I spoke about what is taking place in construction, it's the same concept. A lot of the standards that have been developed in the first world, I'm saying, has to basically be embraced by us now, because the visitor that we are hoping to get comes from the first world. They are accustomed to a certain standard in presentation, standard in service, standard in how they are able to pay for the products they want to consume. There are some simple basic things that we in the next 8 months must be able to embrace to be able to be part and parcel of the dynamic tourism product that will be SVG, Destination SVG. Yes, this is a conversation. We cannot sit down and expect to benefit from the changing marketplace and think we can take the same old attitude towards it. Listen, I am looking at our tour operators getting together and offering not only to the international hotel operators that we would have here, but even our local operators. Listen, every Wednesday, we could have a hike to La Soufrière. This is how much it will cost. This is so you could tell me how many persons you will have. This is how much it will cost you. And instead of the persons have to pay us, they pay you, the hotelier, and you will pay us. The partnerships, the way things are organized. We were a Grenadine store. The Grenadine store will take place every Tuesday. Around the island tour will take place every Friday. If you notice what I'm doing, I'm saying we have to be able to ensure that what we are looking at is so well constructed that persons will want destination SVG. How do we ensure our calypsonians, our performing artists, our pan men make some money? We organize it. We have a caller. Hello, good day.
Oh, yes, good morning.
Hi, good
With
morning.
reference to tourism.
Yes.
I had some guests here with me the other day, and we went both to the fort and to the gardens. Now, as a local, to be honest, I hadn't been there for some time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having visited the fort, it was mostly deserted. The cruise ship was in, and there were a couple of gentlemen hiding underneath a shed somewhere, and a gentleman playing pan. But the main thing was, you know, if you went into the fort, you saw a big plaque with all the information about the history of it. That was on the ground. It was barely legible. You couldn't read what was said. And nobody came forward to say, oh, by the way, do this is this and this is that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we eventually walked around about a view and went to the gardens. On entry to the gardens, I asked the lady at the ticket booth if she had any pamphlets, like very thin, you know, ones with the pictures or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She tells me, no, you have to listen to the guide. Well, a lot of tourists may not understand clearly what the guide is saying and may want to check to see that they've got the right plant or that they want to have as a memento or a souvenir when they leave the place. Nope, there was no pamphlet, right? Then one of my relatives heard one of the, I think it was a Korea guy from Korea, saying that she didn't know the name of so-and-so plant and moved on. Well, there were two guides there in the gardens. They were waiting for tourists to come to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's rather inappropriate that couriers give their own guide to these, yes, they're in their buses, obviously, but come to the gardens and say, now you're in the hands of the guides at the gardens who are more knowledgeable than I, right? Now, on leaving the gardens, there were some very nice ladies at the top, very helpful. And I asked if they had any pamphlets. Oh, no, they said they don't have anything like that, but they have a nice booklet. So it was a very beautiful booklet. And it was 15 US, okay, but I'm paying EC, and it was 40 US, 40 EC. So there seemed to be a complete lack, really, of interest, particularly from the lady at the booth where you pay your money. And they're the two garden gentlemen who obviously knew exactly what they were doing, but were not being utilized. So it was disappointing, to say the least. So there's something that one has to chew on there when you're thinking about tourism. We need to get our act together. You cannot have people visiting a place. They would like a memento, a free pamphlet showing the basic history of a place, and some pictures. And then people would be encouraged to come back. But you can't just say, oh, listen to the guide, or whosoever there just sat under a shed and didn't bother with anybody. Not good enough. So I just want to put that out to you, and I hope relevant bodies might be listening. But thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for sharing. No, again, this is where I'm going to say I'm not disappointed that that caller shared. I am happy that that caller shared, because we have to get this right. Now, I know a lot of work has gone in, as I was saying for the morning. I know a lot of work has gone in to basically look at the infrastructure. And yes, we still have quite a bit of work to do. But this is where we, the people, have to step in now and be interested in what, let's say, the opportunities that are at hand. We gotta be interested in making money. And here, I'm not talking about being employed. I'm talking about making money, making a difference. Now, obviously, as a guide, you may get a salary, But depending on the quality of service you offer, persons might be interested in leaving your tip. And as a worker, you need to basically ensure that when persons are reporting, are asking for information that you may not have available, that you could say, hey, listen, send up your suggestions up the ladder. Listen, this is what the consumers are demanding. This is what they're interested in. How could we ensure that our visitors' experiences are top-notch, excellent, on every occasion that we get a AAA rating? We cannot be satisfied with mediocrity. And we cannot see it as a, listen, it's the government responsibility to bring the tourists. But we don't see it as our responsibility to keep them happy, ensure that their experience is what it's supposed to be. We got to get the little things right. And we have to ensure that we do not lose the opportunity. 8 months. Not that in 8 months we won't get visitors, because we have persons who will come in for carnival. So we have an opportunity to ensure that over the next 8 months, we continue to work to get it right. Ensuring, and you know, my sister talked about the visitors coming by her and what they did. And this is where I'm also saying, just like we talked about doing the Grenadine stores or around the island, is the same how I'm talking about on mainland. We could construct it where persons get a day tour, being in a hotel, and we get our tourism, the various players in the tourism market, to work together to say, hey, listen, this is what we want to offer, and go and offer it. Approach the hotel association and say, hey, listen, I want to offer this to all your members, each hotel in St. Vincent, so that when guests come in, or guests are calling and they're asking, what could we do in St. Vincent? The person could lay out, hey, listen, if you, normally my hotel rate is, let's say 100 US. But if you pay me 200 US per night or per day, this is what would be on offer. So the person don't have to walk around with money in their pocket. Because this is what my friend a while ago called in about. Sometimes we expect people to have money in their pocket, where a lot of times when you go overseas, people have moved away from cash. Everybody carrying a card. So if you expect the tourists to have a $2 on them, or maybe $100 on them, the reality is they might have it in a card. If you don't have a card machine, you can't do business with them. We have to understand that the persons we are looking to invite to St. Vincent are accustomed to a certain standard. What we have to do is ensure that that experience that they're going to get in St. Vincent is uniquely Vincentian. What they eat, the friendliness of the people, the sites that they visit, we're going to ensure that the experiences are uniquely Vincentian. So let government continue to deliver to the nation these assets that lead to productivity. Let us understand we have to add the right labor, the right attitude of the labor force to ensure that we can actually benefit. Having an airport creates a gateway. Having a port in Kingston creates an entrance. Our returns come when people cross the entrance, utilize the service. This is how 6% will turn into 10% growth. When a person hits our shores, that's only 6%. The experience they would have while they're here is what creates the value added. Let us ensure, for my conversation today, that our attitude towards this value added is tremendously improved. I think we have one last caller. Hello, good day.
Good morning, Mr. Sutherland. How are you?
I am not too bad.
Okay. I'm calling with a question.
Go right ahead.
I visited St. Vincent 2 years ago, and I wanted an ID. I'm from St. Vincent, but I visited so I wanted an ID, because when you go certain places, they are asking you for 2 forms of ID. And at least you only have one, which is your passport, because you've been away for so long. So I'm wondering if the government or the relevant authority can, for like people who are based overseas and they're coming home, if they can like do like probably temporary ID.
Well,
for them, because I try to get one at the registry, and they're saying that you have. As a matter of fact, they told me that I have to live in the country for 6 months, before I can get one. So I was wondering if somebody can implement something where for people who have intentions living abroad and coming home, if they can get like some form of ID.
Well, that's something we'll
set up so that they can get an ID.
Well, that's something we'll have to look into. But at the same time, I would say this is where, if you're traveling to St. Vincent and you're based overseas, one of the things is this is where we have our various consulate offices, where we're hoping that you will be in touch with them so they too could help guide the process, so that you don't have to wait until you get here to have the required services that you would desire.
You know what? At least I have a passport. I have the passport, but I needed like an ID. If you understand, you need something else. Because you go into the banks, you go to certain places and they're asking you for 2 forms of ID.
Yes, and this is where I'm saying, to help the process, because obviously when you come here, it may take a little while for some of those things to be set up and basically properly processed. Whereas if you're planning to travel, take for example, that your desire to come here for Carnival, you basically get in touch with the consulate in New York. They can help walk you through the processes so that you don't have to wait until you get here to St. Vincent to basically access some of the services.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we are a little after 12 and I see everybody looking at me. Time for you to leave. It was